Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. My name is Evan Shove. I'm one of the admissions officers at Bowdoin College in Brunswick, Maine. Very excited to be here. I want to first say thank you to Jim and the whole team at Service School for arranging these lunch and learns. I have about a 15-minute presentation for you to tell you some general important things to know about Bowdoin College, and then if there are any questions after that, I'd be happy to answer those. So Bowdoin College is a selective liberal arts college, purely undergraduate, of about 1,850 students up in Brunswick, Maine. So on the coast of Maine, just 2 miles from the ocean. Our college was founded over 200 years ago in 1794, and it's very much an accessible campus, kind of your classic quintessential liberal arts campus with a very close-knit quad and most students living residentially on campus. Our connection to our place is really important, and I do want to start off by talking a bit about the relationship between Bowdoin College and the state of Maine. One important thing to know about Bowdoin is that Bowdoin and Maine grew up together, quite literally. In fact, when we were founded in the late 1700s, Maine was still part of Massachusetts. So the state and the college have grown to embrace a lot of the same qualities and characteristics of being really welcoming and kind and helpful, but also independent, knowing that you need to take care of yourself, but also the land that you live on and the people who live around you. So we've embraced these qualities over the last 200 years, and they're certainly qualities that we're looking for in incoming students. To give you a sense of where Bowdoin is located, we are that little dot up in New England in the northeast part of the country in the shaded state. So as I said, we are a coastal school just 2 miles from the Atlantic Ocean, and that does play an important part in academic and extracurricular experience at Bowdoin. Even though we are up there in Maine, we are still quite accessible, so you're always welcome to come visit us. And this is a look at our campus in winter. So again, of course, owing to our location, we do have all 4 seasons, and of course, winter is one of those. But a couple things to say about that. One, we make the most of winter at Bowdoin. There are a lot of fun traditions. Students get really into the outdoors and skiing and snowboarding and hiking. So we do love winter. It is also important to know that being just so close to the ocean does moderate the winter weather a lot. So it is often not as cold or snowy as it is in inland New England. But we still do embrace all 4 of the seasons and all of their glory in Maine. Bowdoin is located in the town of Brunswick. So that's a college town of about 25,000 people, actually over 60 places to eat. You can quite literally eat your way around the world in Brunswick, Maine. It's probably more of a bustling town than you might expect for a suburban town up in Maine, but we have a lot going for ourselves in Brunswick. And we really want our students to get involved in the Brunswick community. It's important for us that there is a good relationship between the college and the college town. This isn't always the case. We are very fortunate to have in Brunswick an Amtrak train station and a bus station just 5 minutes from the foot of our campus. So that can bring students down to Portland, which is Maine's largest city, which has an airport and also a larger train and bus station. But we also have direct connection down to Boston. So we're the northern terminus of Amtrak's Downeaster line, which runs between Boston's North Station and Brunswick, Maine. So even though we're up north in a more suburban environment, we still are well connected to larger urban areas with great transportation. The city of Portland is a really fascinating and artistic place. I think it's a really impressive and underrated city. It's often been compared to other slightly more larger cities like the other Portlands in Oregon or Austin, Texas, maybe Brooklyn, New York. And we've really embraced the identity in Portland, I think, of wanting to provide our residents and certainly the students at the nearby colleges with a really great environment with restaurants, movie theaters, performances, museums, really wonderful outdoor space. And again, Portland is just a half-hour south of us. Besides having the train and bus connection during the school year, Bowdoin Student Government sponsors flat fee taxi rides in the city. So it's just $5 one way to get down there. As I said, we do have an airport in Portland, and that is a common way for students to get to our campus. And Portland is in fact a fastly growing metro area, one of the fastest growing in the entire Northeast. And I mentioned that because I'm seeing now that this map is already outdated, and we edited this just last year. So I know, for example, that we now also have nonstop flights to Miami and Dallas-Fort Worth on American. So it is very easy to get here, and that means we have students coming from all over the country. We put this together to show where the various towns and cities that are slightly under 2,000 students are coming from. So all over the country, and in fact, all over the world. We have students represented on campus from all 6 inhabited continents, and all of our students, regardless of where they come from, play an important part in contributing to the community. Bowdoin is perhaps more diverse in many ways than you might expect for a liberal arts college up in Maine. In the current entering first year class, about 71% are from outside New England. So we're no longer the small regional New England college we maybe used to be. Roughly 22% are among the first in their family to attend college. Over half are coming from a public or charter school. 9% have an international background. It's really important for us that an education like Bowdoin's is open and accessible to all of the students, regardless of where they're coming from. To give you a sense of what your time at Bowdoin might look like academically, certainly that'll happen in the classroom on our campus and in our lab space. But at Bowdoin, we believe that getting hands-on real-world experience is crucial. It's a core part of the academic program. So this coastal connection plays an important part who we are at Bowdoin. This picture here is taken down by our Schiller Coastal Study Center, which is almost a satellite campus. Besides having really impressive marine and terrestrial labs where students can do research as early as their first year, the Coastal Study Center also has dorms and kitchen areas, classrooms, office space. It's really almost a satellite campus because the study of the ocean and marine science and environmental studies, those are core academic programs at Bowdoin that a lot of students get interested in. And we want to make sure that they can get that hands-on experience right away. We also have another research station up off the coast of New Brunswick, Canada, a place called Kent Island. It is a little more remote and difficult to get to, but we do send a cohort of students up there every summer to do some really impressive research. What can you study at Bowdoin? A lot of things. We have 44 majors and minors you can see on the screen. Being a liberal arts college, that means we don't have pre-professional programs. For example, you don't see something like industrial design on the screen, but we have majors that span the humanities, social sciences, and natural sciences. A liberal arts education is designed to prepare students to succeed in an ever-changing world. We know that a lot of the careers and industries that are going to exist 2-3 decades from now don't currently exist. And so we think it's important that our students get a really rigorous grounding in critical thinking skills and presentation skills, reading and writing skills, communication skills, while exploring any of these majors, research skills. It's really important for us to prepare our students for their lives decades down the road, not just immediately after they graduate. For a sense of our largest majors, of course, every major at Bowdoin, no matter how big or how small, is really robust and will have a lot of opportunities. But these 10 are our largest. Number 1 is government and legal studies, 2 is economics, and 3 is biology. But you can see again that the humanities, social sciences, and natural sciences are represented in the top 10. And nearly half of Bowdoin students on average will declare a double major. For a couple of reasons. One, the students that come to Bowdoin are naturally interested in several diverse academic interests, but also Bowdoin makes it possible. We have a fairly open curriculum with relatively few requirements. The only requirements are that you fulfill a few distribution requirements, so just ensuring that students take classes across the humanities, social sciences, and natural sciences. And then we ask that every student take a first-year seminar. There are many options of those to choose from. But there are no gen eds, no core curriculum, no 200-person composition lecture that every first year files into at 8 a.m. Outside of those pretty general requirements, you study the courses that interest you. Our founding president over 200 years ago instituted this idea of the common good as being a really important part of Bowdoin's philosophy. And I think it's important to mention the common good because one, it's an important thing that we're looking for when we're admitting students to Bowdoin. It's something we emphasize when students are here. But I think we also want to emphasize that the common good at Bowdoin is a range. So we have students that get really involved in service that might participate in our McKean Center for the Common Good to go out in the world. And for example, we had a student a few years ago, right before COVID, get a grant to go help build an irrigation network in northern rural India in the state of Punjab, which is incredible. It's a really fascinating experience, but that's not all of our students that are pulling out into the world and doing things like that. But what is true of all of our students in their relationship with the common good is that they live it in their daily lives. We have this tradition, you could call it, at Bowdoin called the Bowdoin Hello, which is the idea that as you walk around campus, anyone you run into, regardless of whether you've met them before, will give you a friendly hello and a nod or a wave. We really try to place an emphasis on kindness and collaboration at Bowdoin. And at its core, that's what the common good is about. You'll meet a lot of lifelong friends at Bowdoin, being a highly residential campus where about 97% of students are living on campus all 4 years. You're constantly meeting your peers in the classroom, in class discussions, in the dining hall, in your dorm, out on the athletic field, and off campus while you're participating in extracurriculars or research. You're constantly learning and engaging with your peers and learning from your peers because they all have very different backgrounds that can contribute to your educational journey at Bowdoin as well. You will also meet a lot of really great faculty. Bowdoin has an 8-to-1 student to faculty ratio, and classes are on the smaller side. In your first 2 years, most classes are typically between 10 to 25 students, although it can range. And then in your junior and senior year, as you get into your major, a lot of those will often be single-digit seminars. So really getting close with your professors. All classes at Bowdoin are taught by a faculty member. So that is a professor who holds a terminal degree. We don't have grad students teaching classes. To the extent that we have TAs in some classes, those are really to lead study sessions, but it's your professor that is teaching the class and is getting to know you and wanting to help you. You'll also get to spend time with your professors outside the classroom. So this is also down by our Coastal Studies Center of a class doing some research. And that means that professors are not only teaching you outside in the classroom or outside the classroom as part of a class, but they're getting to know you. They're getting to know your research interests. They're getting to know how they might be able to help you find a summer internship or apply to grad school or a job after you graduate. Our professors are full-time members of the community, just like every student is. When we hire new professors, we do so with the very explicit understanding that they're becoming a full member of this community, and that's very much expected of them. So it's professors live the common good as well. I think it's a good way to put it. Academics extend outside of your major significantly, and this can involve in opportunities while you're still at Bowdoin. So over half of our students will engage in off-campus study or study abroad. That is really popular. And if you are on financial aid, your financial aid travels with you. So opportunities like study abroad are available to all students, regardless of their family's financial background. We also know how important it is to get, again, that experience, that readiness for life after graduation. People hear the phrase liberal arts college, and they might wonder, how is that going to get me ready for a job? And at Bowdoin, we go out of our way from day one to get you ready to be successful upon graduation. A few years ago, we started this new concept called sophomore boot camp, which is now extended to every member of the sophomore class comes back to campus a week early before the spring semester of their sophomore year. And you do really intensive interview practice, job searching skills, workshops. It is a great opportunity to prepare students for success. It's an important part of the Bowdoin philosophy to make sure our students go into the world prepared. We also have a lot of fellowship and funding opportunities, which I can certainly talk about more if people have questions. Bowdoin is one of the top producers of people receiving Fulbright scholarships to either teach English or conduct research overseas. And we also have lots of funding through our campus for students who want to conduct summer research or internships or travel. These are some of the largest nonprofit employers where our graduates end up. I think owing to our commitment to service and the common good, we do have a lot of students that enter the nonprofit world after graduating. Certainly a lot that go into teaching careers or will spend time down in DC. Again, government and legal studies is our largest major, and so I think that leads to a lot of our students ending up in public service. But of course, you can still embrace the common good in the for-profit world, and a lot of our alumni have. And so Bowdoin graduates are leaders in some of the top industries and companies around the world. And that includes, for example, Reed Hastings, class of '83, who is the founder and CEO of Netflix. So we certainly love Reed. And owing to our rigorous academic program, a lot of students end up in graduate and professional schools as well after graduation. And these are the screen, some of the top schools that Bowdoin has sent students to in recent years. And this is both for graduate programs, but also for professional programs like law school, medical school, dental school, etc. We have students pursuing them all. So what do we look for when we're reviewing applications to Bowdoin? It comes down to two things, academics and heart. Those are really the two things. And so certainly academics are important. Bowdoin's a really rigorous place. We want to feel confident that you'll come here and be able to take rigorous classes and meet that challenge head on. We do have a lot of support on campus academically for our students, but at the end of the day, we want to know that you're ready to come here and learn. But the heart component, the character component, that embrace of the common good is just as important. We're a really collaborative, close-knit campus, and we want students who will really be willing to join that environment and go all in on being a member of this. What we don't look for necessarily in your application, one is income. Bowdoin has one of the best financial aid programs in the country. We can make a Bowdoin education we're confident work for anyone, regardless of their background. That is something that we are all eager to answer more questions on. There are not a lot of people in the world who enjoy talking about college financial aid, but fortunately, most of them work at Bowdoin. We are always happy to reassure anyone about aid and support at Bowdoin. And also test scores. Bowdoin was the first college in the United States to go test optional all the way back in 1969. So we've been practicing test optional admissions for over 5 decades. It's an important part of our admissions philosophy as well. To extend the conversation about aid a bit, we know that aid and support in college goes well beyond the annual financial aid package that over half of our students receive. And so I mentioned previously also that we have a lot of funding and support for fellowships and study abroad. We also have this new thing called the Digital Excellence Commitment, which means every incoming student receives a MacBook Pro, iPad Mini, Apple Pencil, and all the software to go with those. And you can keep it upon graduation for $1, so it is yours to keep for life. Finally, to conclude with some important things to say, I think if you ask students what their life is like at Bowdoin, they'd say it's busy, but it's fun. You're constantly meeting people from all walks of life from around the world, so it's collaborative. You get to really embrace the natural environment in Maine and the beauty that we have here in this state. It's hard work. There might be some late nights in the library, but your peers are there to support you. Your professors are there to support you. Everyone wants you to succeed. It'll be a place where you can push yourself and you can try new things. It's a place where you can have your fun and really kind of explore who you want to be and the kind of person you want to be after you graduate. It's a place to belong. Every incoming class to Bowdoin is unique in its own way, and certainly as an admissions officer who's been here at Bowdoin for over 5 years now, it always amazes me to see how each class produces their own identity and really grows to embrace the common good and Bowdoin's spirit in their own way. So I will leave you with a final slide on the offer of the college. This was written by our 7th president in the early 1900s. And this is really intended to give you a sense of what are we trying to do here at Bowdoin College at the end of the day? Why am I an admissions officer wanting to talk to people about Bowdoin? And the offer of the college really summarizes this, the values that we have as a college, what we're looking for in our applicants. This will become relevant if you do choose to apply to Bowdoin. As part of our supplemental essay, we ask that you choose one of these lines that resonates with you, and then optionally you can write up to 250 words on why that line resonates with you. So it's a chance for you to communicate whether your values might correspond to Bowdoin's values. And that is the offer of the College of Bowdoin College. So I will stop sharing, back again. And at this time, if there are any questions, please feel free to put those in either the chat or Q&A sections. And I will answer what I can. Okay, we do have a question. Could you tell us more about the test optional policies at Bowdoin, especially for those who wonder if they are disadvantaged by not submitting test scores? Of course. So I'll first say that when we say optional, we truly mean optional. The way to kind of think about it from an admissions officer perspective, someone like me who reads applications, is that, again, think back to that pie chart slide where the two things that we're looking for, academics and character. For that academics piece, we're trying to answer the core question of, can this student succeed at Bowdoin academically and to what degree? We can answer that question with or without a test score. If it's without a test score, we have a lot of information to go off of. So we have the student's transcripts, so the high school transcript. If you have attended any college courses, we'll get those transcripts. We'll also get important documents called a school profile and school report from the counselors at your various academic institutions to tell us about your academic journey. We'll read your writing in the essay and the supplement if you choose to do it. The letters of recommendation will give us a sense of your academic abilities. That is so much information for us as admissions readers to determine whether someone can succeed at Bowdoin academically. A test score number can be a part of that analysis, but it does not have to be. If you're curious, in the entering first year class, about 48%, so nearly half of students did not submit testing. So truly optional. Great question. What opportunities do family members of student veterans find within the Bowdoin community? Really good question. So Bowdoin does have a smaller population of student veterans, but I think we really do try to give them a home here. For students that are coming to campus with family members, our Office of Residential Life and Office of Student Aid will work with them to make sure that they have adequate housing. Certainly that will not be in the on-campus housing that a lot of our students live in. So I did say that we are highly residential. About 97% are living on campus all 4 years, but there is, of course, a cohort of students who are living off campus, and that does include some of our student veterans with family members or who requested that sort of residential environment. We also, through our dean's office, recognize that sometimes emergencies happen. And so we actually have something called a student emergency fund, which one can be financial support if a student needs to get home for an emergency, if maybe one of our student veterans has children and something comes up and they can't make it to class, your class dean can advocate to your faculty members on your behalf. The final thing I want to say about our student veteran population at Bowdoin is that we want to be as flexible and adaptable as possible, recognizing that at a school like Bowdoin, we're really trying to make sure that it's an environment that's open to everyone, not just, 18-year-olds who are graduating high school and going right to college. There are many other people who have had different academic journeys who deserve access to a really strong education. And so to that end, to give you an example of something I think fairly unique that Bowdoin tries to do, we actually let veterans choose whether they want to apply as first years or transfers. So at many schools, if you have matriculated at another higher educational institution, completed some coursework there, they require you to transfer in as a transfer student. But at Bowdoin, even if you have already, let's say, done 2 years of community college and gotten your associates, if you are a veteran, we do still allow you to apply as a first year if you would like to have those 4 years at Bowdoin. Just recognizing that a lot of our student veterans have had really diverse and different academic journeys. And if they want the traditional 4-year college experience, we want to give it to them. So with that, I will just leave you with my contact information. I will post that in the chat and also say it out loud. So my name is Evan Schoaf. My email address is eschoaf@bowdoin.edu. I am the admissions officer who covers veterans for the office, including transfer students, community college outreach, and then some other odds and ends around homeschool students as well. So at any point, please email me with any questions. I'm always here to help. I'm happy to talk about anything related to admissions, financial aid, life at Bowdoin. I know that applying to college can be a stressful experience, and truly, I want to be here to help in any way that I can. So with that, I will say thank you all. And Jim, I'm not sure if there's anything else, but otherwise, I don't think there's any other questions, so we can perhaps go ahead and sign off.
Thanks, Evan, and we'll follow up. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Jim, and thank you everyone for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Bye now.